Hello everyone and welcome to the New York Empoleon's Week 3 Team Builder of the SDA. We are here this week taking on Tone, coach of the Miami Malamarlins. I have not faced Tone in a very long time and his team is horrifying and he's a very talented coach. Definitely go check him out. Links in the description below. His battles this season are going to be a blast to watch just all the way through. He's just a very entertaining commentator, but also his team is insane. So let's go over that real quick. But definitely go check him out. Link, as always, as are all of my opponents, is down below. His team is Dragapult, Cinderace, Urshifu Rapid, Unfezant, Mandibuzz, Gardevoir, Vileplume, Marowak, Vikavolt, Corsola, and Copperajah. So, again, horrifying. He's got a Dragapult. That alone is terrifying. So, how are we going to beat Dragapult plus Urshi? I guess I have to bring Clefable. Oh no, twist my arm. I drafted him on that can handle like strong fighting types and strong ghost types, and that's what we've got. So yeah, Spectrier, loving the matchup. Just kidding. Spectrier does not love facing a Pokemon that is faster than it and has super effective stab in Dragapult, but Clefable doesn't mind it so much. So Clefable's gonna be rocking out with Stealth Rock, Moonblast, Knockoff, and Soft Boiled this week. Hopefully it manages to put in the work it needs to. It's more supportive than like offensive, although an offensive Clef seemed really good in this matchup. I just couldn't get it to work. It just didn't outspeed the right things and just got, you know, beat in the wrong matchups where I didn't want it to, or it had to switch in on a knockoff, which sort of defeated the point of it being offensive in the first place. So we're rocking out with this set. I do have currently the leftovers on it, although I'm still going back and forth on whether I want leftovers or Rocky Helmet on this set, because Urshi taking a ton of damage from the Rocky Helmet chip would be super nice, as well as like Cinderace and things like that, or Mandibuzz going for a knockoff that I have to switch in on. At least I get some chip off on that, as opposed to the leftovers that just get knocked off and get me no value. However, the longevity of the leftovers is also sort of good, and so I'm going back and forth on it. And even as I'm recording this, which is about 3 hours before the battle, I don't know for sure which one I'll end up with, but if it does change from leftovers, you will see me talk about it at the beginning of the battle. But otherwise, it's pretty standard set. Knockoff makes sure it doesn't get walled by things like Copperajah, and the Vileplume doesn't love to switch in on it. And then rocks are super useful here because his team doesn't love seeing rocks either. And I'll see what has boots. He has a ton of rock weaknesses, so I expect boots on like everything. Boots is an amazing item, but at least I'll know, and then I don't have to worry about Scarf or Band or anything like that. I'll know their boots. Next up is my Drapion. Speaking of things with a Rocky Helmet, I am rocking out with the Battle Armor this week so that the Urshifu going for Surging Strikes does like 12%. 3 hits. They each do like 6%. Maybe it's like 20%. Still, it's not a lot of damage. Obviously, close combat hurts a ton, and he could just U-turn, but at least we do have a switch in to the Urshifu going for Surging Strikes and don't just lose. And he may be hesitant to close combat since the obvious switch into Urshifu could also be the Clefable. So having both of these, just even for the mind games of which one am I going to go into the first time, could really help. And again, he could just U-turn, but at least I don't have to worry about that thing setting up on me. This thing is also just sort of support. Knockoff, again, is something that I think is going to be really good against his team. And if he is Protective Pads Urshifu, knocking it off could allow me like a window of opportunity to get some Rocky Helmet chip and break that thing down. If he does start bulking up in front of my Drapion, which admittedly can't do much outside of getting a Poison Jab poison, Whirlwind is there just in case he starts being like, yep, I see your Drapion and I'm just going to set up. I just go, whoop, Whirlwind. At least you don't have the bulk ups, because a bulk up Urshifu literally sweeps my entire roster. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Don't have to worry about it. Taunt is there for things like the Mandibuzz, for things like the Vileplume. Can't strengths at me if you're going to be taunted. And things like the Copperajah that might want to go for rocks just in case, just thinking that I'll switch out to preserve this. I can taunt that if I'm really predicting that. But otherwise, and you know, it's just a good move to have, because he could go like hard Cinderace and then he can't court change or something like that. So that's be a really bold switch, but he could do it. And so I just want to be prepared for it. Next up is my Rotom. This thing's gonna be rocking out with the Blunder policy this week because it makes Blizzard 100% accurate. I swear, if this thing misses a Blizzard and his Urshifu is at like 50%, so I can kill it with a Thunderbolt, if all of his mons are at like 50%, this thing just kills all of them. If I miss one Blizzard and then land the rest of them, the problem is how many Blizzards I need to land in order for that to work. But I do have to miss at least one so I can outspeed the Dragapult. Otherwise, this thing just gets revenge killed by Cinderace or Dragapult very easily. Defog is there on this just in case. You know, he's got Vikavolt with webs, and webs are a pain, so it's sort of like a that's a problem, and I'll just bail out defog, but it's not something I'm intending to click very often. Most of the time, I'm just going to spam stab moves and see how much damage this can get off. It's just another good matchup for it offensively. Defensively, a little bit more questionable, but if I can get the outspeeding of the Cinderace or Dragapult and put him into a sort of a bind where he has to risk taking a Blizzard with the Dragapult, which he may be willing to do since I will miss more than half of them, but Blunder Policy I've seen makes this thing 100% accurate, so hopefully that does give it access to landing Blizzards. But again, I actually do want to miss at least one so that I can get that speed to outspeed the Dragapult. Otherwise, that thing just revenge kills me every single time. Next up is my Coma-O. This is going to be rocking out with, it was going to be enough speed to outspeed the Dragapult at +1. I actually ended up putting a little bit more in so that it outspeeds Gardevoir guaranteed, because I was worried about Scarf Gardevoir outspeeding me sort of as a miscalc, because I only need 143 to outspeed Dragapult, but I need 146 to outspeed Gardevoir. So I decided to just go a little bit extra speed there, just to make sure that I have that, and don't get caught totally just, by accident miscalcing, misgenning, and losing. +1, this thing can kill his entire roster, basically. Not entirely from full, but even just a little bit. I am Boots in case he does set up the webs with the Vikavolt. I am Bulletproof, though I really have no idea whether Bulletproof or Soundproof is better here. Specs Dragapult spamming Shadow Ball is a scary thing, though, so I decided to go with the Bulletproof here. Although you could argue that being able to switch in more freely on the Vikavolt, on the Bug Buzzes and stuff, not that they're going to do that much damage, but being able to switch in on that, and then maybe even having sub on this set, and not letting things go through the sub might be better, but it's sort of a 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. There's no great option, and Pyro Ball not hitting me is also kind of nice. So opted for the Bulletproof here just because there could have, you could argue either one would have been a good play. Dragon Dance, and then we do, Coma-O things. This thing actually, I thought about teching it to live a Vileplume's Moonblast. I decided it wasn't super relevant in this matchup, since if I'm bringing this in on the Vileplume, it better be, or at least if I'm bringing this in, Vileplume better be in range of a +1 Dragon Claw, because otherwise I'm just going to get Strength Sapped, and it doesn't matter whether I can take a Moonblast or not. I have to switch out. So it doesn't, it was sort of one of those things where I was like, meh. It ends up not being that relevant to the matchup, because if he does have a Vileplume that is still healthy enough, this isn't going to sweep anyway. Next up is my Tora Cat. This thing can come in on the Vileplume potentially. It can also come in on like Dragapult. If it's physical, it gets intimidated. Dragon Darts is a 3-hit KO at that point. But yeah, we're bringing Tora Cat back this week. Parting Shot, Overheat, Taunt, and Toxic. I figure I'm never going to click Overheat or any offensive move more than once and then immediately switch out. So basically what's going to happen is if I click the Overheat, he's like, ooh, free switch into something. He can't put a lot of pressure on me. I'm just going to go for a Parting Shot. So he goes free switch, and then I Parting Shot, and then I get the free switch. This is sort of a lead, not necessarily exclusively, but if I see the Vikavolt on his roster, I may just lead with the Tora Cat. Taunt stops the webs from turn 1, which is super nice, and Overheat just can kill it from full, which is awesome. So that's the set that I decided to run. Toxic's there for things like the Mandibuzz that could easily switch in on me. Again, another thing, like trying to get a free switch after a -2 from the Overheat. It's like boop, Toxic, and then we're gonna deal with it. Since things like the Vileplume and the Copperajah, which are immune to Toxic, don't really want to switch in on a Tora Cat. It's weird to say something doesn't want to switch in on a Tora Cat, but yeah, this set actually feels like it does a lot of work. The only other move that seemed viable here was Roar. For the same reason that I have Whirlwind on Drapion, which is just like don't lose to Urshifu trying to set up on you. But if the Urshifu's in, I go for a Parting Shot. If he goes for an attack, he doesn't set up, and I can just deal with it later. And if he does go for a setup, then I Parting Shot. He doesn't get the setup, and I'm able to go into something that can handle it. So I figure Parting Shot's better than Roar in that situation, and Taunt is better overall for the Vikavolt. So I figured, why not go with that option? I do actually have a lot of speed because I wanted to outspeed the Gardevoir on this thing. So I'm not actually as bulky as I potentially could be, but with the Eviolite and some decent bulk and max HP, this thing actually can take a hit or two pretty nicely. And finally, we do have the Mew. I said I was going to put these at the end of the team builders. Now, this is not a Mew that I was like, ooh, let me just make my other sets and then throw Mew with whatever moves it needs. This is a Mew that can literally sweep the entire team from turn 1 if good things happen, but I'm probably not going to lead with it. Basically, if I can get this thing in on something that it's going to resist the hit of, or at least take the hit okay from, something like the Cinderace, for instance, I can Cosmic Power on the U-turn, get a Weakness Policy boost, get a Cosmic Power boost, Soft Boiled from there. Dragapult can't 2-hit KO me, even with a Dragon Dance boosted Phantom Force, because of the fact that on the turn that he is gone, I can just Soft Boiled and recover health. So he can't just straight kill me. Dragon Darts does not do 50% once I hit +1 if he's not also at +1. Even if he is, it does about 40%. So we can absolutely set up this thing to +2, +3 with the weakness policy boosts. Stored power is literally annihilating his roster. And once I get the weakness policy boost, Mandibuzz is not a wall to this. Ice Beam just goes ham on that. It kills things like the Unpheasant, and I just, from there, it's just whether or not the Copperage is really healthy to be able to take 1 stored power, but even then, it's not coding me back, and I just Cosmic Power in its face, soft boiled a few times, and then go from there. He could Toxic. It's the same way that my last opponent dealt with it, but again, this Mew is not... It could very well just win on turn 1, but it's not an early game sweeper. It's very much, I'm going to bring this in when the situation is right for it to finish the game. And if I have to bring it in before that, I'll try. It'll do as much breaking as it can, but it's really a cleaner late game sweeper Mew, and he's got a lot of super effective coverage for it, which I totally expect him to bring. Things like ghost moves on the Dragapult, knockoff or foul play on the Mandibuzz, you know, something like U-turn on Cinderace or Urshifu. So he's just got a lot of coverage for it, which is really, really nice actually in this particular case because it gets off the weakness policy, and then I've got Cosmic Power boosts, and I'm just unkillable from there. So that's the team this week. Hopefully it works well. You guys will see that battle tomorrow. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys all back here with that battle. Take care, everybody.